Welcome, my name's Jeff Warner with WikiUp Consulting. In today's Aspire demo, we're going to take a look at some of the AP features. Aspire has a lot of wonderful features for managing AP from voucher entry all the way through approval. Today we'll take a look at dashboards, voucher entry, document attachment, and approval workflow. Thanks for joining the session. Let's get started.
Welcome to WikiUp.
Here we are in the voucher entry workbench, and this is where all your AP accountants would come to enter new invoices that were received from your vendors. So this list, everything that I have work in progress, so there's a lot going on right here, so I have a lot of things that I haven't finished, and this is one of the very nice things about Aspire, is it's saving as I'm going. I'm not having to enter something and then come click save. If I got up for lunch and I had my screen in this condition, or I left at the end of the day because I didn't have answers from project managers on where to charge things or other information, I would be able to pick up where I left off the next morning. Now, just a brief tour of this screen. Everything you're seeing in orange is giving us an error. Invoice date is required over here. Account is required over here. Total amount must equal the sum of all line amounts. So all these orange items have to be resolved before we can process the voucher for approvals. And you can see this blue highlighted arrow, that's the step where we're able to send it. So these two lines are actually ready, and I could assign them to the approval workflow if I wanted to. Everything else has a problem that needs to be resolved and can't be sent forward until those issues are resolved. And again, up at the top here, I am still interactive, can click, jump into my things that need to be approved, things that need to be processed, etc. And this is only my data. So if I'm logged in as me, I'm only going to be seeing the things that I've entered that are sent to me for approval, etc. So let's just take a look at an entry here. Let's create a AT&T entry. We select our vendor. One thing with the vendors, it is a interactive search. So if I just put in AT, it's going to find everything with AT in it. So it contains AT, and it'll find everything that we need. So you can make that search as specific as you need to find the vendor that you're looking for by name. This piece of paper here is how we attach our invoice. So we have one here, a sample document attached. So this invoice is now loaded into the Sky Vault. It's in the Aspire cloud, and it is now available to be searched upon, pulled up in other documents. It's also attached to this voucher. So as it goes through approval stages, you'll be able to see it. Here's where we enter our invoice number. We'll give it an invoice date of the 16th, a due date of the 25th. We'll give it an invoice total amount here of, let's just say, $5,000. We'll put $2,500 onto this line. We will assign this to a project. This is a project-based system. So here you can see the projects that are available for us to assign charges to. Just going to pick one of these. We'll come in. We'll use our type ahead search to find our direct cost, and we'll scroll down here. We'll type ODCs. We do have divisional capabilities inside of Aspire, so we'll assign that to division number 1. Okay, I still don't have my blue arrow. The reason why, I need my next line. So here we have the action of plus, which allows us to enter a new line, minus, which allows us to delete a line, or forward for approval, which says we're finished with this line. But we can't do that until we balance out this total voucher. Let's go ahead and enter a plus here. I'm going to come back to my second line. I'm going to enter another $2,500 here. In this case, we're not going to enter a project. We're going to come right over here. We're going to find an overhead account. Let me find. So we'll pick overhead professional services. Go back, Division 1. So now everything's black or green. So we're in good shape. Our blue lights have lit up over here on our arrows, and we're ready to process this. So what I'm going to do is just come in here, and I will let me scroll down a bit. I'll assign myself, and I will assign the 21st as the date for approval. I'll send the workflow. That's for the first line. I do have to pick both lines and get them in the approval queue for someone before this will go through to the next step. I'm going to do that, send workflow. You just saw both of these disappear. And give me 1 second, I'll show you the email here. And here we are in email, and you can see that, and I just did a quick search on you have an AP item. So we'll go into this. This is the most recent one. Everything else is from other demos and testing. And you can see that here it's telling me I have an item. It's got quite a bit of detail in here. So approvers are going to be able to see the task they need to approve in 2 places. One, they're going to get an email every time a new one is assigned to them as a reminder, but they can always log into Aspire, go to their dashboard, and they're going to see everything they need to approve in the due dates. But this email is pretty detailed. It's telling them you have an AP item for approval for a total amount of $5,000 from AT&T. It's telling you when the task is due here on 10/21, and it's providing you a link so you can go directly into your AP workbench. And you can see I have several things out here that need to be approved that I have not approved, some things that have some errors on them. When I'm in this screen, I do have the ability to make notes, so I can put notes here. I can save that with a record, and I could reject this if there was some problem, give it a note and tell them to do more research, or in this case, this one's missing the attachment, which we can tell because it's green, and we could reject it, and we go back to the responsible AP accountant, and they would need to fix the problem and forward it back to you again. Let's just take a look at this AT&T line that we were working on. We click expand, we can see that we have 2 lines here. We click on the document, we can actually pull our document up, take a look at it. So this is our saved document. We can review our invoice right there. Close down a couple of these screens here, and we can also then approve. So we have our charges, we can review here. We can actually reassign from here if we need to reassign charge codes as approvers and managers. In the settings that are on this database, we do have those rights. If we're not going to reject it, we can come over here. We've got our check boxes. Blue are lines that are already been approved. We go ahead and check, and we just approved that, and it went through for approval. So where that ended up on our dashboard now, and I'm logged in as an admin. If you weren't logged in as an admin, you might not see this happen, but it went into the process queue right here. So let's go back to our main screen here, and we can kind of see what happened. And these are other samples I was doing today. But here's our AT&T invoices that's loaded. And keeping in mind that everything in the Sky Vault I can go search for. So if I want to find all my AT&T invoices and I've named them in a smart way, I can come in and search and find all my AT&T invoices very easily that way. Over here is all of my approval items and what remains open. As I mentioned earlier, this is an interactive dashboard as too, so it's telling me when things are due. So let's just jump back into here, and you'll notice this takes me right to the screen. Here's my CyberLogic that is telling me I need to approve. And see, there's a couple of errors on CyberLogic that I would have to resolve before I can do so. But once I approve these, once I fix my errors, I'm able to approve these and forward them on to the process. And over in the process screen here is now our AT&T invoice with the document still attached, invoice number, all of our amounts listed here. and we're able to go ahead and process it. And all that we need to do to process it is to click this checkbox. And so this is, I'm logged in as an administrator, so understand not everybody would have these rights. In most cases, your entry person is going to be different than your approver, and who processes most likely is going to be different than the approver as well. So different people are going to see different things. I happen to have super rights so that I can give you this demo. We will go ahead and click the process button here, click the wheel here, tell it where to post, and let's see, we're in period 10, and say proceed. There we go. So now we have our voucher entered, and our transactions are now available for reporting and processing. Well, that's it on AP, voucher entry, and dashboards for Aspire. Please join us for a future session. We hope you found this session helpful. Have a great day.